Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Greg. I'm going to go over the cryptocurrency market. I'm going to go over the cryptocurrency market in general, guys. And if you just landed here, do me a huge favor, drop a like, hit the subscribe button. Be really appreciated, guys. Going over the S&P 500 just a little bit, guys. You want to pay attention to this area that it's in. You can clearly see, when I'm looking at the S&P, this move right here that it's doing in this area reminds me of this move. I remember this move right here when they said this was going to drop like a rock. Still got some questions with this move right here, guys. Three-wave-ish move to me. You really can see, when it's bearish, it clearly gives you bearish signals. And it's over here, and it's not so bearish anymore. Okay. So that remains to be seen. It needs to get down here and break that pivot. I made previous videos about that. So I want to go over some other stuff with you guys on the overall picture for Bitcoin using some proxies on that stuff. So it's always a good idea to zoom out. The farther, the better. And the chart with the most amount of data, just to give you clarity and a little more clarity on what's going on. So sometimes that helps. But this move that it made, there's a big question. What went on with Bitcoin right in that area? Okay, a lot of people calling that a fifth wave top, and it's coming back down to start a new sequence. Just looking at that, guys, they could be right, but they don't know for sure. Nobody knows for sure. That's the reality of it. Okay. Here's your peak on your peak right there in your RSI, okay? And it touched this trend perfectly, and it's bouncing out of there. I still think you have a good shot that this is going to just be a fifth wave, guys, going into the end of 2023 and maybe the beginning of 2024 or something like that. So if you think about that, so I went over this in a previous video right here, like going out to June of 23, they're saying the rates are going to pause probably around June of 23, guys. So if you go back to this chart, once the pause happens and the market knows that, then, the TradFi markets and then the other markets are probably going to go a little more bullish. And if you think about this reasonably, this is how I'm looking at that. How long they're going to be on a pause, who knows? They say they're going to stay there for a long time, and they could. So let's say they stay all the way through 2024 or something like that. And then boom. I know there's some other people saying that they're going to do a pivot and then interest rates are going to go back down. You want to be careful that time. Whenever the pivot comes along, wherever that's going to start happening, I don't think that they are, guys. I think they're going to continue with the rate hikes. That's when the crash is going to happen. So I'm thinking this is going to go up, whether it's going to get near all-time highs or just below all-time highs. And then there's going to be the crash on Bitcoin, guys, like a wave 2 crash, like this one right here. Okay. Looking at MicroStrategy bouncing out of there. MicroStrategy, a proxy of Bitcoin. They hold the biggest holder of Bitcoin. I think Coinbase is first, GBT is second, or they might be flip-flopped. And then this would be the third. So whatever MicroStrategy is doing here, more than likely it could do the same. Now, is it going to double correct lower? It could. But you have a good shot that you do have an impulsive wave off the bottom here. Okay, so at a minimum, you got A, B, C, or this is 1, 2, and it's going into 3. Okay, so that looks good for MicroStrategy. And then the overall picture with GBTC, guys, is that here's my deal with GBTC. GBTC's been in a correction since March of 21, found a local bottom or maybe a bottom in November of 22. Based on this leg, at a minimum, it should be retracing up to about this $25, $26 area if it's still bearish. So that'll be your three-wave swing and a three-wave swing up here to come back down, making it very bearish, because then it will come back down, break this pivot, that pivot, probably even that pivot, and probably end up into these areas again if you're that bearish. However, if it's finished right there and it's doing this wave pattern, and June 22 is the pivot, going to the end of 2023 and then into 2024, you have a good shot sometime in that time frame that it could be going up to these areas, hitting that trend for that touch there, overthrow, correction, touch, come back down and back up, and then that crash will be back over here, come back down to this pivot area, to this general area right in here again, guys, probably in 2025 as an example. Don't hold me to those times, okay? Looking at the wave pattern that it makes too, it does make impulsive moves, but you need to be careful. They don't GBTC doesn't hit exactly crypto targets, like not third waves don't exactly all the time hit 1.618. So you kind of have to wing it a little bit and just check to see what's going on with that right there. But it actually looks pretty good, guys. So I'm expecting this area. So that probably upside for Bitcoin, and then up in this area, potentially going if everything goes according to plan. So nothing's really changed with me, guys. The pause is in June of 2022, and more than likely, according to the markets. And then that's probably when you're probably going to have like a decent wave. Take a look at Bitcoin for a second. Take a look at Bitcoin here for a second on that same time frame. A decent wave, possibly, maybe up into these areas. I still think 40K is a potential with Bitcoin right now, guys, especially if it doesn't break 19,500 in this area right now, 19,500, which is that pivot right there, about 19,500 gets up, it could hit the 40, and we go to those areas, and then you could have that crash, like a wave 2 crash over here or something like that, guys. Okay. At the same time, you can't rule out that this is turning into an ABC, and that's going to come down and break those lows. That's a possibility, but you come out here to this time frame, guys, you know, it really doesn't make too much sense based off this data right here, where you have hidden bullish divergence, and then this data down here in the Stochh RSI with it being down there. You can see right at my finger on that blue, it finally turned up. And I think once it does that cross, he probably could be good to go. But it did it over here, went up into a wave, it did a correction or something like that. So that's a possibility too, come back up. And then if this is going to go up and hit, like, say right now it is at 3.62, so it's way down there. It goes up and hits 20. You think about that. That hit 21, and it did a 300% move there. So Bitcoin probably is not done, and it's probably have more of a massive move up there, guys. Okay, that's how I'm looking at that. Everything looks okay to me. Just keep an eye on the support areas on the TradFi markets. They start breaking 19,500 for Bitcoin. If that starts breaking down, things like that. But the crypto markets overall too, I'll go over cryptos, are showing me that they have more waves they want to do. We have cryptos look like they're going to a C wave, or they're going into a third wave. Some people talking about the Bitcoin dominance too. The Bitcoin dominance for me, guys, is that I'm looking at it in a bearish way more than anything. You take a look at this on the daily chart right now. This is the Bitcoin dominance chart, BTC dominance chart, and you can see here in the daily RSI, you got some bearish divergence being formed right there. Telling you could probably peak up a little bit more. At the same time here too, you have a massive amount of hidden bearish divergence this way from this peak to this peak. I still think it's probably going to be making a trek back down to this trend line. It might even have an overthrow. And that's when you have a serious altcoin season. Put it together with, go back over here to Ethereum BTC chart. It's kind of in the same area. Target areas, people had asked me, Big Daddy Crypto on Twitter had asked me, this is the area, this 1-to-1, maybe down to 1.27, 1.38. This area for the ETH over a Bitcoin chart. So right now, Ethereum is weak over Bitcoin. But once it gets down here and you have that thrust back up and you have your inverse, boom, left shoulder, head, right shoulder in this area. And then you possibly could have a serious move over here, kind of like this, what it did back in June. So then Ethereum and then alts start taking over, and the reason I'm going with that is I'm going to go back to this on Bitcoin. Let me go to the BLX and I'll explain to you guys why I think that's a really good shot. I'm going to go back to this on the 3-month chart is because of this. Excuse me, guys, for a second, but is because of this. This to me is more like, you know, going up for a 5th wave in this area, guys. So just based off this chart and this data, it just seems like that to me is a really, really good shot, which means that the cycle, the reason I'm saying that, the cycle is not complete. This whole cycle right here is not done. So some think that this is done and then the cycle finished right there and it's starting all over. Bitcoin phase 1, Bitcoin takes over, then Ethereum, and then it goes to the alts. That might not be the case. Maybe they're still in a cycle And maybe that's why the signals of some of the altcoins looking like they want to go into a third wave and start ripping. GALA, I think, is one. Phantom, VRA. VRA is looking like it wants to go up into a fifth wave. Ethereum, you can look at as it going up into a fifth wave. You can look at Binance Coin looking like it's going up into a fifth wave. I can go up. Now, I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just looking at it reasonably going, hey, I have multiple messages saying going more towards that fifth wave theory, guys. I can look at total market cap in the same way. Is it finished, right there with the fifth wave, or has it got one more shot to do right there, guys? I could look at all those and get that message or that signal that looks more like it's going that direction for me. Just got to see how the waves play out here in the near future. Make sure Bitcoin doesn't break those important support areas. And also with the cryptos too, make sure they don't break your important support areas. So like, for example, let me go over GALA coin as an example, guys. GALA coin's now at, let me get to a lower time frame chart on an 8-hour chart. GALA's at 39, basically just say 44 cents, right? This pivot area right here for GALA, 0.029, or just basically 3 cents. But as it stands right now, GALA looked like made a nice wave. Here's A wave, probably coming up for a B wave and then back down for a C wave, okay? You can put the fib targets on there, get a 1-to-1, something like that, and then 1.618 is where you get concerned, but more than likely, just look at your support areas right here. Probably going to be coming right back down to that area. Could go back down a little bit below that, and that would be the area for it to complete that wave sequence on GALA. So if I just take a fib and use logarithmic on GALA, I do on GALA. It's such a volatile asset, so I go with logarithmic on it and do it. So there you got your 786 would be this area right there. Could have some confluence. Could it go all the way back down to 0.032? Very well could, guys. Could it be done there? It could. It could. That needs to be a three-wave move. That needs to be a three-wave move. You got to take a look at that. Could it be a three-wave move? Could be. It could be, guys. Yeah, it definitely could be an ABC move. And this could all be bullish. I mean, it looks corrective. It could be. I would still expect a swing down there, but that's why I picked up the my coins and just DCA'd in all the way back down here, all the way back down to that 3 cents area on GALA, guys. Which you look at the overall picture, going back to Bitcoin, right? Think about Bitcoin right now. What's Bitcoin? Have projections for myself that Bitcoin is going to be making moves up, obviously in corrections, but over the course of 2023, making moves up. And I have GALA over here in a wave 1, come back over for 2, and then on the progress in a wave 3, or an A, B, and then a C. Okay. Based off what I'm seeing, I think the higher probability right now is that GALA is probably going into a third wave. And you just look at the overall picture of GALA. How much has it corrected from its top? The probability going that way. Look at this information over here too. On the CME, this, it's going to do a pause potentially in June of 22. So I go back over here, checking this out, GALA. Okay, well, they're probably going to do a pause. I know when the markets do a pause, they like to go up usually for a period of time. GALA has dropped 98%. It's done a nice reaction off the bottom. It's done a second wave or maybe C wave. So then more than likely the odds are, just with a little bit of patience, you're probably going to have a smoke show over here. If you made it all the way to the end, do me a huge favor, drop a like, hit the subscribe button. Peace.